Today we're talking about why the INFJ needs external validation too. So external validation is this concept that we all don't want to be part of. It's been like this hype thing of all you need is internal validation. I don't need to have any kind of external thing telling me what to do. I decide who I want to be. And this is a good concept on the surface, but we really have to look at what this is really causing us. Quick announcement, guys. The INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp is launching this Saturday. So you get access to the early bird price if you book within the first 48 hours. So make sure to sign up for the waiting list. If you're still unsure if this is for you or if this is for you right now, definitely check out the masterclass. It's free. It's on YouTube. It will also be happening this Saturday. And if you want to know more about the bootcamp, just check everything out. All the information you find in the links in the description. We as INFJs have learned all our life to stop caring about external validation because of two reasons. Number one, we're chameleons, meaning we can be whatever we want to whoever we meet. And that in itself has taught us from a very early age that in order for me to be liked by somebody, I just have to be how they want me to. We have this gift, this is our capacity to be a chameleon. And so we have learned to get external validations for what we can do for other people or how we can show up in such a way that makes them feel good. So you can't get external validation that isn't good, because that way you're getting external validation for something that you're not. And since we have learned that this is so bad for us, that we have longed for this, and at some point have learned, okay, I need to change this. This is not making me happy. I always fall short to what other people want me to be. No matter what I try, it's not good enough. And on top of that, every time I act in such a way that makes other people feel good, I still feel unseen. I feel completely misunderstood because I'm not being liked for who I am. I'm being liked for something that I'm pretending. And that makes us feel hollow and empty and just really, really sad. And that's why so many INFJs really get into this depressed state. So the next step is for INFJs to say, okay, I'm just going to cut all of that out. I don't care about external validation. All I'm going to do is do me. I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to pretty much give up on so many social interactions, on so much fun I could have because the price is just too high. I'm going to stay in my little cave, and that's the place I just have to be content with. Everything else is worse than that. But I'm here to tell you, no, there's a third way. You can get external validation for who you actually are. And at that point, we have to talk about what external validation is and why it's actually a necessity. Quick reminder, if you haven't done this so far, then download the free poster on the 5 pillars to an INFJ epic life so you can start taking action today in creating the life you always wanted to live. External validation is to get the feeling from other people that you're being appreciated, that you're being accepted, that you're part of the group, all of that, respected, all the things that we can think of. And we have to understand that every single person, not just INFJs, actually needs this. This is how our brain is set up. We are human beings. We are social animals. We belong in a group. That's what makes us feel safe. This is on a very deep psychological level. So there is nothing wrong with this. We get into this whole debacle, we get into this whole thing that makes us so uncomfortable, that makes us so sad, is when we have to make sacrifices for it. As in, I have to pretend I'm somebody else, otherwise I'm not going to get that external validation. And that's where it gets tricky. Because yes, we all need external validations, not just INFJs, but because we have learned so much how to get that external validations for stuff that we're not, we have such a feeling of, oh, I'm just going to push all of that away. I don't want it at all. So this is similar to actually those 3 steps to interdependence, which is the first one is dependence, right? This is where you have to do certain things in order to be appreciated. You have to act a certain way. You have to just give yourself up. It really is a form of mental prison. Then you have the independence stage. And also independence, it sounds great, but if you look at it from that psychological level, this independence level is still not like the overall goal. It still lacks the contact with other people. That's why so many INFJs who choose to go that route and say, okay, I am a lone wolf. I'm going to do things by myself. I'm going to be isolated. Most of the time, you will not find them to be smiling all day and happy and excited. People in this stage very often get cynical. That's why we don't want to stay in this state forever. What we want is to create interdependence. Interdependence is when you get to a healthy state where you make sure that you give to yourself first, that you are taking care of yourself, that you're okay if you had to do this, but then you say, okay, I'm going to go out into the world and get external validation for who I am, not for what other people want me to be. And you'll see that this is much more difficult than actually getting the external validations for things that you don't want to be. You can be, but that's not actually who you are. I've gone through this process. I know how hard it is. And this middle ground is super important, because unless you get to a point where you can sort of live really being by yourself, doing things that you know that people are going to judge you for, if you don't get to this place, you can never get to a place where you say, okay, I actually appreciate myself. I appreciate who I am. And since I appreciate myself, other people will appreciate it too. And if some people don't, then that's on them. But I'm not going to hide myself anymore. Very often we tell ourselves, oh, I don't need other people. I'm completely fine by myself. But the truth is, we're actually scared of rejection. We're scared of being seen as weird, or there's something wrong with us. And I'm not judging anybody here. I've done this like for years. This is not an easy concept. You know, everything that we talk about, we always say we want to lean into things. You're never perfect at something, but you can always make little adjustments. You can always go into certain directions. You can always do things that will get you to the next level. So my biggest fear was that people would think I'm too cold, that I'm also weird, that I think about esoteric things, that I think about like these psychological, deep, meaningful questions that nobody cares about. Like things that are really all that I'm about. I'm not about all of those things that I'm able to show people. I was able to act like the cool kid. I was able to be really stylish. I was really able to be in the party scene and really make people become aware of me, but I never got real satisfaction from it. It was just like a quick high, and then I thought, okay, now what? Because this wasn't who I am. This wasn't what I was all about. This wasn't the thing that gave me the validation that I as a person needed. And very often we as INFJs think we have to make sacrifices here. We have to make compromises. Either I'm acting like I'm somebody else, or I'm being myself and I'm not going to be liked. And that's why things like this happen, where we meet a person, let's say a potential friend or a partner, and we're totally obsessed with that person because it seems like they can see both. They can see our quality of being able to portray this image of who we are, but they also see who we really are and what we're all about. And that's when it gets dangerous, because it feels like that's the only person who can give us that external validation. And we're so hungry for it that we latch on to that person and we're willing to go with it no matter what the consequences are, no matter what the prices that we have to pay. And so many of us have experienced this, and it doesn't have to be this way. The reason why we get hooked so much on that one person is because we're starving, and it's not the way it should be. We don't have to be starving. And in order to do this, we have to step by step dare to show our gifts, to show those things that we're most afraid of, that we're most afraid of people would judge us for. And guess what? They will judge you for it. I can tell you this from the beginning. Like, all the people that you surround yourself with that will think you're weird, that will not see you as the person you thought you could be in front of them, yeah, they will judge you. But also think about, you subconsciously chose those people around you. You chose them because we rather want to be right than to be happy. You know, this is not an INFJ thing. This is just a human thing. Our ego really wants to keep us safe, and we have a certain view of reality. And if our view of reality is that I'm too weird, there's something wrong with me, then you're subconsciously going to surround yourself with people who would actually think that about you once you would reveal who you are. But we can make that jump. We can do it in such a way that we can handle it. I always like to say, well, I'm going to do it in such a way that it gets me out of my comfort zone, but it doesn't overwhelm me. We talk about this a lot in bootcamp. It is one of the things that makes a huge difference in our entire experience, because we say, let's lean into this. Let's make some changes that really make us uncomfortable, but they will turn our life upside down in the best way possible. The way to do that is to say, I deserve external validation, but I deserve it for who I am. And the only way you can get this is if you say, I choose myself. I'm going to act in such a way that I show to the world what I like about myself. And yes, the people around you might distance themselves, but only then You can be seen by people who actually can appreciate you, and these people do exist. And very often you will even have different dynamics with people who are already in your life just because they will see you from a different light. But it has to start with you. We have to understand that we deserve and need external validation too, just as any other type, but we need to have it in such a way that is in alignment with how we want to see ourselves. That's the place where we fill our cup of energy up so it overflows, and it's a win-win situation for everybody. We actually talk about this in boot camp, in particular when we talk about vocation, so your purpose, because I've always made it a point. It's not just about how you can serve. It's also about how do you want to be seen. You have to define this for yourself and then hold on to it despite all the feedback. And it's a journey, and it's something we do over and over again, and it gets easier with every single time we dare to show ourselves. You deserve all of this. You deserve the INFJ Epic Life. You deserve to be appreciated for who you are and what you have to give. And the only way this is going to happen is if you choose yourself and you start expressing that so people can actually decide for themselves, do I want this in my life or do I not? And the sooner people understand you are not for them, they will leave your realm and they will make space for other people who can be there for you, who can appreciate what you bring to the table. And it's an incredible experience, and I wish it to you all. Remember, if you want more accountability with this process, more help, being surrounded by other INFJs on their journey, having me as a mentor throughout that process, then join the INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp. The waiting list is open, so you can join now and you get access to the early bird price. We launch in the end of the month, so make sure you're signed up so you don't miss out. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch Why the INFJ Keeps Their Distance.